Hello and welcome to Below the Skyline, reaching you live from our studios in Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria. I am Benga Aboroa. Below the Skyline begins in East Africa, where the African Union Observer Mission to Ethiopia has described Monday's poll as credible and peaceful. The mission says it observed preparations for the election as well as the voting process in Addis Ababa and other parts of the country. The vote counting is still underway. The election was postponed twice, first in August 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic, and again on the 5th of June following security and logistical challenges. Violence and other challenges have led to the election being delayed until September in dozens of constituencies across 7 regional states. Now in West Africa, former Prime Minister of Ivory Coast, Guillaume Soro, has rejected a verdict that sent him to prison for life. He says the trial aims to end his political ambitions. He believes the trial shows how the Ivorian judiciary can be easily manipulated by the executive. Soro vows to continue his fight against the capture of the Ivorian state and the control of all its institutions. The sentence passed by the criminal court in the capital Abidjan on Wednesday sentenced Soro in absentia. He has been living in exile for the last 2 years. Soro and others face charges of conspiracy and undermining national security by plotting a coup. Joining us and Below the Skyline this afternoon to discuss all this and more is an African affairs expert, Dr. David Matsanga, based in Nairobi. He now joins us to speak on the Ethiopian elections, the situation with the former Prime Minister of Ivory Coast, and other hot-button topics on the African continent. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Matsanga. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much for inviting me on your show.
Now let's begin. Thank you very much.
I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, loud and clear. So we'll begin in the Horn of Africa. Let's talk about Ethiopia for a bit. The African Union has just given the Ethiopian government a clean bill of health in the performance of the elections, calling it a credible elections, even though elections were not held in some regions due to the security situation there. What's your take on that?
First of all, African Union has never given any clean bill of health. Every election in Africa, the African Union Observer Mission ends up giving a clean bill of health and saying the elections were free and fair. But there has never...
Okay, I believe we have...
Are we together?
Yes, we're together. Just a bit of technical difficulties there, but you could go on, sir.
The African Union has never given observer mission and election monitors and election observers, especially those headed by Obasanjo, declare any election not well organized. And I'm shocked that they are still recycling people who cannot say some of the... Are we together?
Yes, Dr. Matsanga.
That's why I'm saying I don't know why all the time the African Union say the elections in Africa are always credible. I have not heard.
Okay, I believe we have some technical difficulties. We'll go on a quick break and try to fix that. I believe we're having some network connectivity issues, but when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Matsanga. You're welcome back. Now we have African Affairs analyst Dr. David Matsanga on the line with us in Nairobi, Kenya, to discuss big issues happening on the continent at the moment. We're discussing Ethiopian elections before we went offline for that break. Now, quick one. You said the African Union Observer Mission has never given any, they always give a clean bill of health. What's the reasoning behind this? Even though we've seen that elections on the continent are not always what it should be.
Well, they simply protect each other. And that's why Africa is going down to the drain. They protect each other. All these people who go to observe elections, former presidents, former prime ministers, they protect each other. There is nobody, there's nowhere I've seen His Excellency General Obasanjo telling the people that no, you a verdict of non-compliance to the African Union. That is where the problem of Africa begins from. That's where conflicts come. Yes.
Now, still talking Ethiopia, you believe the African Union is an old boys club that is just protecting each other's interests. Now, let's talk about the crisis situation in the Tigray region. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. The United Nations last week warned that Tigrayans, people living in the Tigray region, are close to starvation. And in an interview just a few days ago, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said there's no famine in Tigray. He dismissed all of that. What the African Union has also said they will send an observer mission to investigate what is happening in Tigray and report back with its findings. And the Ethiopian government was very angry about that. They said this is our internal matter and the AU should not be meddling. So what's the way forward? Just yesterday, there was reports of an airstrike in the Tigray region. So this violence is not over. Humanitarian NGOs are complaining that they are not getting access to the vulnerable people in the Tigray region. And you have a prime minister that is blatantly denying reports of starvation. What's the way forward and what's your observation of the situation in Tigray?
First of all, the biggest mistake that happened on the African continent in the Prime Minister of Ethiopia and the President of Eritrea, where you purportedly, by Western powers, to give a Nobel Prize to the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. I am one of the few people who warned the presidents around the region, including President Uhuru Kenyatta, that shaking hands with Eritrean president who harbors terrorists. You see, terrorists are in Somalia. They come and kill us in Kenya. They fight in Mogadishu. AU spends money, but where do they go? They have a fallback plan in Eritrea. So this question of double standards, double speak, we are here condemning people who went to Tigray to kill. You know who killed? Who are the people who went to Tigray to kill? Do you know why?
The Ethiopian government has said that the Eritrean forces in Tigray will start withdrawing.
Eritrean forces, can I add for you? Eritrean forces, Somali forces, and Ethiopian forces. I happen to be a friend of the late Prime Minister Zenawi and the President Isaias Afwerki. We worked together in London. They were working for Ethiopian Relief Association. I was working for Uganda Relief Association. 1987, 88, 89, 90, before they were given support to go and overthrow Mengistu Haile Mariam. I know all of them, plus Dr. Tedros of World Health Organization. He knows me. We worked together in the same office. I know who is a thief and who is not a thief. I know who is a good person and who is not a good person.
So, Dr. Matsanga, how do you feel, what's the way forward? Because so many people are starving in Tigray. The humanitarian crisis there is degenerating by the day. How do you feel this issue would be resolved? People always talk about African solutions to African problems. The African Union should intervene. The African Union has intervened. The Ethiopian government does not like the tone of it. They say it's an internal problem. They will deal with it. In your own experience and from what you've seen, from your observation, what do you think would lead to a lasting peaceful solution in Tigray and Ethiopia as a whole?
We need an intervention force in Ethiopia, in Tigray, to protect the Tigray people.
An African Union-led intervention force?
No, United Nations, not Africa. I don't think the AU people are divided. Both the AU people, my brother, cannot stand together. Took troops there, you will find them fighting each other. We need a neutral force that can go in to protect and make a no-fly zone over Tigray, because we can't lose all the people like we lost the Tutsis in Rwanda while watching. The Ethiopian government is, together with the terrorists across in Eritrea, are killing people in Tigray. And we should not keep quiet as Africans and watch when this is happening today in 2021. Enough is enough. Ethiopia is the headquarters of AU, and Ethiopia is misbehaving. It is showing us that we should pull out even in that headquarters to go somewhere else where we can have neutrality. Why should we have a headquarters of AU in a country that is destabilizing itself? Why? Why should Africa watch people die every day? I am of the opinion, sir, that the United Nations Security Council, and we are going to lobby President Uhuru Kenyatta, whose membership on the UN Security Council non-rotational, to bring up a motion that United Nations deploys a force to prevent further genocide in Tigray.
And the hope is that the humanitarian efforts would take claim, would be prioritized over politics of the East African community and the African Union Brotherhood, because it's the people that really needs to be protected, like you rightly said, in Tigray. Now, moving away from the Horn of Africa, let's come to West Africa. The French government has said French troops in the Operation Berkane that is meant to kick out Islamist jihadists from the Sahel region and protect the people of that region. They'll be winding down the numbers. It's been more than 5 years that they've been there, and there's still a lot of terrorists roaming about and going about their business in this vast desert area. How would you score the success of Operation Berkane and generally, foreign intervention forces, that model in Africa to stop crisis?
A supervised foreign intervention force can work, but not a French intervention force. French intervention force has become a mercenary force. The French brought us the problem we have today in Africa, in North Africa. The French, under Resolution 1970 of the United Nations Security Council, bombarded Libya. They said they were weapons of mass destruction in Libya by Gaddafi. Gaddafi had checked on the terrorism that you see in the Maghreb area, Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. The cells of Al-Qaeda were under control. They had not done the damage they are doing today, including in your own country, in the north, where in Maiduguri, we have Boko Haram killing people mercilessly. You see, the French have brought us all this problem. And African leaders, it's high time you woke up, you stood up.
But Dr. Matsanga, they would argue that the intervention force, the NATO-led intervention force by the United States was backed with the seal of approval by the United Nations Security Council. So it has some form of legitimacy. And it's because of the luxury of hindsight that we see that all these cross-border terrorists and that are roaming about the Sahel is as a result of a blowback from that intervention.
Don't you see that that's double standard? That hypocrisy of the highest degree. How do you back a resolution 1970? Now you cry about Libya. We are crying about Libya. We have two factions that have taken over Libya. We have terrorists moving all the way from Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, Niger, north of Ghana, Chad. We have terrorists there, Mauritania, Mali. We have terrorists all over, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso. Everybody is becoming more or less a terrorist because of the French policy. And Africans should not be shy to say the truth. The French
Dr. Matsanga, if the French aren't intervening in Africa, if there's no French intervention force, the capacity of African national armies, even the African Union intervention force, we don't really have the capacity or the finances to deal with this sort of transnational terrorism. So,
my brother,
are there any other ways to address these issues?
No. Boss, my brother, when you said there's no French intervention force, what about in Chad? What about in the Central African Republic? There's an intervention force. There's an intervention force in Chad. When President Idriss Déby was killed, the French admitted they brought in a force. It is there. There is a standby force. For example, who is supporting General Khalifa Haftar, who has cut off Libya? Who? Look at what is happening to Libya. Tripoli has been taken by Turkey. Benghazi has been taken by the French. Who is supporting them? Look at the people supporting them. Egypt. Look at the way things are working. The Middle East, Turkey, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, they have all come.
So it's
the
like
war that is even disturbing the people of Nigeria.
A proxy war that is going on.
Causes. Hello?
It's like a proxy war going on.
A big proxy war. Now the French are in charge. They tell you, you tell me that the French don't know that there's Boko Haram. Why haven't they come to the rescue of President Buhari to wipe out Boko Haram? Why? Why haven't they finished the insurgency in Central African Republic? Why? They have armed, and I want to tell you this today, they have armed Bozize. They have armed the former President Bozize in Central African Republic. We know logistics. Who are the countries that are supplying arms to Bozize? What companies in Paris are doing so? So they have armed it against the government that was elected in Bangui. What is this? What is this that we should keep quiet? The French have spoiled the whole North and the West Africa. Now
quickly,
they have moved to Mozambique.
Let's move on to Southern Africa for a bit, because I wanted to talk on two issues before we go. We'll look at Southern Africa, and then we'll talk about upcoming elections in Kenya in 2022. Now, the issue in Mozambique, the SADC Troika did meet recently, and they said they're going to provide a Southern African-led intervention force to deal with the terrorist situation in the oil-rich Cabo Delgado part in the north of Mozambique. President Philip Nyusi did not admit the number these forces would be. There's news that there are about 60 Portuguese soldiers, trainers in Mozambique already. What do you make about all of this? Because Total pulled out of a project they were working on in the Cabo Delgado region, citing security issues. So apart from the humanitarian cost, there's also a business and financial cost to terrorism.
My brother, thank you very much, and your viewers. I talk facts, I don't talk fiction. Total, you have said Total pulled out. Exactly. That's what I've been telling you. There is no difference between Total and the foreign intelligence system of France. Wherever you see Total, you see the DSGE or the French government policy, foreign policy working. Why do they pull out? Because why did they go there in the first place? There are oil companies that are fighting for the spring hot gas, oil, and the other minerals in the Beira Triangle. And as a result, the American companies have come in, they want to take over from the French. And my brother, I want to tell you, whenever you see France, Total Oil, you know you have seen Qatar. Qatar pays the money. Total does the drilling.
Now, quick one, Dr. Matsanga, you said wherever you see Total, you see, you kind of sound like France Afrique, the old France Afrique of the FOCA network is still ongoing, that Africa still has its purse strings tied to Paris. It's been 60-odd years since independence. Why are we still dependent on colonial powers in 2021?
Are you the only guest in Jerusalem? Who does, boss? Are you the only guest in Jerusalem who does not see that there are some countries in West Africa whose budgets are being controlled by Paris? Yes, the 1967 war between Biafra and Yakubu Kowan and Geno and Ojukwu is Total Oil versus Shell BP. Period. The war started and went on. It is still there, simmering quietly. Are you the only person who has not seen that up to today, some French-speaking countries have their allegiance paid in Paris? They can't spend beyond. Niger, for example, produces uranium. The whole uranium is taken to Paris, but you can't find electricity in Niger. What type of life are we leading? What is happening in Cape Delgado is simply President Nyusi. And I'm honest, I have been 6 years ago, my brother, I wrote a report, and I will give it to you now. I know you. I will send you that intelligence report I wrote. I said there are so many people trying to be Total Oil workers when they are not. I went to Tanzania to tell the late President Magufuli, we had 15 minutes talk, and Magufuli was shocked in front of his foreign minister how 400 Total Oil workers are all like a marine shaven in Tanzania. Now, 6 years ago, they were digging a road towards the area of Cape Delgado, but Mozambique was not digging a road. So who are these people? They are mercenaries. They disappeared.
Okay.
Today we have now.
Dr. David Matsanga, I really wish we had time to touch on all the issues we wanted to discuss, but unfortunately we're out of time. I would like to say a very big thank you to you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on the news today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And I hope you will give me the clip.
Yeah.
A video,
and we also look forward to talking to you on our primetime news tonight, Dr. David Matsanga.
Don't worry, anytime. I'm one of the few Kwame Nkrumahs, Nyerere, Sekou Toure.
Very Pan-Africanist. Yes.
It is in me. Yeah. I speak until I die. I tell the French the truth. They are disrupting peace in Africa.
Yeah. Thank you very much once more, Dr. David Matsanga, African Affairs specialist there. And that's all on Below the Skyline at this hour. Remember to follow us on social media with News Central TV. You can also download our mobile app at App Store and Play Store. You can watch News Central live at Star Times Channel 274, AVO TV Channel 23, Vision 247 Free TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Benga Aboroa.